So, do you know which are the top 5 teams of the 21st century? Of course, India, Australia. No. In football. Let's have a look together then. Before we begin, I would just like to say that these are the teams that I consider as the top 5 teams of the 21st century. That is, the teams that have dominated the football world the most in the last 20 to 23 years. Let's begin with number 5. We got Italy. Here's the timeline of Italy's performance in this century so far. When Italy have been good, they have been great. But when they have been bad, they have failed spectacularly. Although the Azzurri had the highs of a World Cup when in 2006, add to that a European Championship last year when they beat England in the final at Wembley, they also had the disappointment of not qualifying to 2 back-to-back World Cups, the one in Russia in 2018 and now this time in Qatar. Not to mention the fact that they also got knocked out in the group stages in the 2 World Cups before that. Italy also managed to finish as runner-ups in the European Championships on 2 different occasions. In conclusion, Italy's performance in this century has been sporadic at best, which means it is not enough to rank them higher than number 5 on this list. So that's Italy at number 5. Moving on, at number 4, we have Spain. Unlike Italy, Spain's performance was not sporadic but all lumped together, as we can see on their timeline here. In a matter of 5 years alone, Spain won a FIFA World Cup, which was their first, and 2 European Championships, the first nation to do so. If I had made this list in, let's say, 2013, Spain would have been number 1 instead of where they are right now. That's because for a period of 6-7 years, Spain was undoubtedly the best side in the world. They had a purple patch, yes, but they were not consistent enough throughout the period in question. Take for example how Spain's campaign spectacularly crashed and burned during the 2014 and 2018 World Cup editions, which means it is not enough to rank them higher than number 4 on this list. So that's Spain at number 4. Moving on, at number 3, we got the defending world champions, France. Unlike Spain, France had not one but 2-3 great purple patches spread across the last 22-23 years. As we can see on the timeline here, at the turn of the century itself, France won a European Championship. Not to mention that they were also the reigning world champions back then. And at the time of making this video, they are still the reigning world champions. But a lot has happened for the French national team between these 2 glorious phases. The last 2 decades for Les Bleus have been nothing short of a soap opera. In 2002, they couldn't defend their world crown as their campaign crashed and burnt at the hands of World Cup first-timers Senegal. In 2006, their talisman Zinedine Zidane single-handedly carried them to the final, where they faltered right near the finish line. But their lowest point came in 2010, when the French players went on a strike right in the middle of their World Cup campaign in South Africa. After hitting this rock bottom, the only direction that the French team could go was up, and go up they did. Under coach Didier Deschamps, the French team went from strength to strength in the following years. First, a quarter-final finish in the 2014 World Cup, followed by finishing as runners-up in the 2016 Euros, which was hosted by France. And finally, going on to win their second World Cup in 2018 in Russia. France is looking to win back-to-back World Cups, this time in Qatar, a record that has never been achieved by a team since the number 2 team on this list, Brazil. Among all the teams on this list, and as we can see on their timeline, Brazil has won the most number of international competition trophies during this period, 3 Copa Americas and 1 FIFA World Cup. Then you might be wondering, how come Brazil is not number 1 on this list? This is because most of Brazil's trophies came in the first 1/3 of this period. Since 2002, Brazil has started as favorites every time they entered a World Cup. Every time they have gone in with star-studded teams only to falter mostly in the quarter-final stages. They haven't gone beyond the semi-final stages. In fact, they only featured in 1 semi-final in the 4 editions that followed. And we all know what transpired during that World Cup semi-final in 2014. Moreover, after their Copa America win in 2007, Brazil had to wait another 12 years to win another Copa America. Brazil were not exactly dominating during the whole time during the period in question, as the previous Brazilian teams have done before them. Therefore, I have put them down at number 2. So, which team is number 1? Before we find that out, let's have a look at few honorable mentions which are not part of my top 5. In fact, there are 2 of them, and we are going to have a look at them one by one. The first team which is not part of my top 5 is Argentina. As you can see on their timeline, Argentina won only 1 solitary trophy, that too not too long ago. In fact, last year to be precise. Having said that, Argentina did end up as runner-ups many times during this period, including once in the World Cup in 2014, when Messi and company got ever so close to lifting the FIFA World Cup trophy for the third time in Argentina's history. Alas, it wasn't to be. On top of that, they finished runner-ups thrice in Copa America before they finally won one last year in Brazil. So Argentina were good but not great during this period, so they don't make the top 5. Next up, we got Portugal, which is again, let me be precise, not part of my top 5. Portugal has always been a bits and pieces team for me, and this period in question has been no different. Apart from a 4th place finish in the 2006 World Cup, a runner-up place in the 2004 Euros at home, the Portuguese team have been inconsistent to say the least. Having said that, Portugal did manage to win the Euros in 2016, their highest achievement as a team till date. But it wasn't enough for them to feature among the top 5. And now, without further ado, we are going to talk about the number 1 team on this list of the top 5 teams of the 21st century. We got Germany. Now, if we were to have a look at Germany's timeline, you must be saying, hold up. Germany has won only one trophy in the period in question. Even though it's a FIFA World Cup, that doesn't mean they were the best team in the world during this time. So, let me explain why they are number 1. Firstly, let me bring to your attention the table on the left of Germany's World Cup performance during the period in question. With the exception of the World Cup in 2018 in Russia and the World Cup in 2014 in Brazil, which Germany won, if we were to have a look at the other 3 World Cups and the teams that they lost to, you will see an interesting pattern emerge. If you don't see it, let me help you out. All the 3 teams that Germany lost to were the eventual winners of those editions. The German team, or the Mannschaft as they are fondly called, were in prime form every 4 years when the World Cup came around. It was an unwritten rule that if you have to win the World Cup, you need to beat the best team in the world, which was undoubtedly Germany during this time. When it comes to the Euros, they weren't bad either, as they finished in the final 4 thrice. Although Germany's form slumped post Euros 2016, they were dominating the football world for a majority of the period in question. And as they say, you just can't keep a good team down. It's only a matter of time that Germany becomes the team of old that we all know. So, whom do you think? Sorry, cricket game. What did I miss?